My friends, I want to begin tonight with a sentence that, if you are honest with yourself, is going to sting a little. You do not actually want what you say you want. I know. I felt you flinch. Stay with me. I am not saying this to be clever. I am not saying this to provoke you. I am saying it because it is, in my experience and in the experience of every person I have ever watched, genuinely changed their life, the single most important thing you can come to see about yourself. And almost no one ever says it out loud. Try this for a moment. Bring to mind the thing you most want in your life, the big one, the one that has been quietly following you around for years, the relationship, the home, the body, the freedom, the number in the account, the version of your life that, if it arrived, would feel like you had finally made it. Have it in mind. Now imagine, just for a few seconds, that it has already arrived, fully, today. The thing is here, the person is there, the money has landed, the body is the body, the freedom is yours. Stay with that picture a little longer than feels comfortable, and then, very gently, notice what shows up underneath the imagined joy. Because for almost everyone who sits with this honestly, something else flickers in. For some people, a quiet panic. For others, a strange flatness, almost an anticlimax. For others, a deep tenderness that has nothing to do with the thing itself. For some, a small voice saying, but then what? Whatever showed up for you, hold on to it, because that flicker is the entire teaching tonight. That flicker is the gap between the thing you say you want and the thing you actually want. And once you see this gap, an enormous amount of your life is suddenly going to make sense. The years of trying, the almosts, the strange way things keep slipping through your fingers right when they seem about to land. None of that has been bad luck. None of it has been the universe ignoring you. All of it has been the universe responding with exquisite precision to a signal you did not even know you were sending. So tonight I want to take you under that signal, under the stated wish, down to the layer that has actually been running your life. Because the wish you keep stating is not the wish your inner life is actually placing. The thing you say you want is the surface, and the universe, that obedient mirror, does not read the surface. It reads the depth. Tonight, gently, I am going to show you the depth. And I think by the end, you will understand, with a kind of soft amazement, why your life has been giving you exactly what it has been giving you. Not as punishment, as reflection. And once you see that, you will know exactly where the work actually is. Let me ask you something. Have you ever, and please be honest with yourself here, gotten close to something you said you desperately wanted, and noticed, almost in horror, that something inside you was flinching? The job offer that came through, and instead of pure joy, there was a strange knot in your stomach. The person who finally showed real interest in you, and instead of softening into it, you found yourself pulling back. The opportunity that arrived, and you suddenly noticed all the reasons it was wrong, all the problems, all the ways it might not work out, the money that landed, and a quiet panic underneath the relief. Most people, when this happens, are confused by themselves. They say things like, I don't know what's wrong with me. This is exactly what I asked for. Why am I being like this? I want to tell you gently what is happening in those moments, because if you can see this clearly, an enormous amount of your past will suddenly make sense. What is happening is that the bottom layer has spoken up. The top layer arrived. The costume was delivered. And the deeper part of you, the part that suspected all along that the costume would not give you what you were really after, said, wait, this is going to expose something. I am not ready for this. Because the bottom layer wish is almost always entangled with an old wound. And the old wound is afraid of being healed, because healing means changing, and changing means leaving behind a version of you that has been quietly safe inside the very thing you have been trying to escape. Let me say that again, because it is the heart of this whole lecture. You have been safe inside the very thing you have been trying to escape. The lack has been familiar. The loneliness has been familiar. The struggle has been familiar. The smallness has been familiar. And familiarity, for the nervous system, is almost the same word as safety. You are not stuck in the old life because you are weak. You are stuck because the old life, however painful, has been a known quantity. And the new life, the one you say you want, has been an unknown. So whenever you get close to the unknown, the old self, the one with the old wound, sends up a flare, a doubt, a reason, a self-sabotage, a sudden inexplicable urge to ruin it. People call this self-sabotage, and they hate themselves for it. It is not sabotage. It is self-protection, generated by a part of you that learned, a long time ago, that the cost of getting what you wanted was higher than the cost of going without. That is what you are actually wrestling with, not lack of strategy. An ancient, well-meaning, deeply confused inner contract that says do not get what you say you want, because what you say you want might cost you something you cannot afford to lose. I want to take you a little deeper now, because the inner contract has reasons, and until you can see the reasons, you will keep fighting yourself in the dark. Almost everyone who has trouble manifesting what they say they want is, without knowing it, holding one of a small handful of hidden contracts. Let me show you some of them. See which ones make you wince. The wince is the information. The first hidden contract is the loyalty contract. This one is everywhere, and almost no one sees it. It says, if I have the life I want, I will lose the people I came from. If I am too successful, my struggling parents will feel left behind. If I am too happy, my still suffering friends will not be able to stay close to me. If I am too free, my partner who is still afraid will resent me. If I am too wealthy, my family who has always defined itself by struggle will no longer recognize me as theirs. So you keep yourself, very quietly, at the level where you can still be loved by the people you grew up with. You stay at the height of the lowest ceiling in the room you came from. And then you wonder why you cannot rise. The second hidden contract is the unworthiness contract. This one is the loudest and the most misunderstood. It says, I do not deserve what I say I want. And the part of you that holds this contract believes, deep down, that if you actually got the thing, you would be exposed, found out, discovered to be the fraud you have always suspected yourself to be. So a part of you keeps the thing at arm's length, because at a distance you can still dream about it. Up close, you would have to live inside it, and you do not trust yourself to deserve to live inside it. So you stay just out of reach, forever almost, forever close, forever not quite. The third hidden contract is the punishment contract. This one is older than most people realize. It says, I did something wrong, somewhere, sometime, and I am still paying for it. Sometimes you can name what you did. Often you cannot. Often it goes all the way back to childhood, where small children, in their magical thinking, assume responsibility for things they had nothing to do with. And then they spend their entire adult lives quietly believing they do not deserve the good thing, because the good thing would mean the punishment is over, and a part of them is still convinced the punishment is not yet finished. The fourth hidden contract is the visibility contract. This is the one almost no one talks about. It says if I have what I say I want, I will be seen. And being seen is dangerous for people who learned, somewhere along the way, that being seen led to being criticized, mocked, controlled, or hurt. Visibility itself becomes the threat. So they keep their lives quietly mediocre, not because they want to, but because mediocrity is the camouflage. The successful version of you would be looked at, and the part of you that learned to survive by going unnoticed is not yet convinced that being looked at is safe. The fifth hidden contract is the most subtle of all. It says, I do not know who I would be if I had this. The complaint has been my voice. The lack has been my story. The struggle has been my personality. The longing has been my entire emotional landscape. If I got the thing, who would I be in the morning, when I no longer had a wound to nurse? Who would I be at the dinner table, when I no longer had a story of striving to tell? Who would I be inside my own skin, when the ache that has organized my life is suddenly silent? You do not say any of this out loud. You may have never thought about it consciously, but part of you knows that getting the thing would dismantle the self you have been being, and the self does not want to die. So it holds the thing away, lovingly, quietly, faithfully. I want you to take a slow breath here, because if any of those landed in your body, please understand, none of these contracts make you broken. None of them make you weak. None of them are evidence that you are a bad manifester or a spiritually backward person. They make you human. They make you someone who at some point had to make a deal with the conditions you found yourself in, and you have been honoring that deal faithfully ever since. The work is not to hate the contract. The work is to see it. Because the moment a contract is brought into the light, it begins gently to lose its grip. The hidden contract only works while it is hidden. So let me give you a question now, and I want you to actually use it. Not later, tonight, before you sleep. Pick something you say you want. Anything, big or small. The thing you have been trying to manifest for the last year. Bring it to mind. Now ask yourself very gently, if I had this, really had it, fully, today, what would I get to feel? Sit with that. Do not rush to the answer. The first answer is usually the costume. I would feel happy. I would feel free. Push past that. Ask again. What would I really get to feel? Underneath the surface, what is this thing supposed to give me? And keep asking until you reach the bottom, until you find the actual word, the one that catches in your throat a little. Safe, chosen, worthy, seen, held, at peace. Finally enough. That word, the one you just found, is the real wish. That is the thing your nervous system has actually been reaching for as long as it has been reaching. The top layer thing was the symbol. The bottom layer feeling was always the point. And now I want to ask you the question that changes everything. What if you could have that feeling now, before the top layer thing arrives? Not after, before, tonight. This is not a trick. This is not a clever spiritual loophole. This is the entire mechanism the law has been trying to teach you for years, but you could not hear it because you were too busy chasing the costume. The reason the costume has not arrived is because all along you were not actually after the costume. You were after the feeling. And the law cannot deliver a feeling. The law can only deliver outer conditions to a person who has already become the feeling. The feeling has to come first, not as proof of the manifestation, as the origin of it. When you become the feeling first, two things happen. The first is that the law, which only ever broadcasts outward whatever is being held inward, finally has something different to mirror. The signal changes, the reflection changes, the outer world begins slowly to rearrange itself around the new state. The second, and this is the part nobody warns you about, is that the grip of the top layer wish softens. You stop chasing the costume so hard because the thing you were actually after, you now have. And from that easier, less desperate, less ache-filled place, the costume becomes much, much easier for the universe to deliver. It is no longer a contradiction. You are no longer broadcasting, I do not have this, please bring it. You are broadcasting, I am already this. The outer can catch up at its own pace. And the outer, my friends, always catches up. Now I have to tell you something here, because it is one of the most counterintuitive truths in this entire teaching. The intensity of your wanting is not a signal of how much you will receive. The intensity of your wanting is very often a signal of how far away you currently feel from the thing. The universe does not read desire, it reads state. And the state of desperate wanting is the state of not having. It is the gap, it is the ache, it is the absence dressed up as longing. And the more you radiate that gap, the more the law faithfully gives you back the same gap, slightly differently arranged. This is why people who chase the hardest often arrive the slowest. Not because the universe is punishing them, because their chase is itself a signal of lack. You have seen this in your own life, if you look carefully. The relationship you were not desperate for came to you. The job you held loosely landed in your lap. The thing you mildly wanted appeared, almost casually, while you were busy living. And the things you wanted with every cell of your being, the things you whispered for in the dark, the things you clutched at like a drowning person clutches air, Those things stayed just out of reach, year after year, no matter what you did. People call this cruel. It is not cruel. It is mechanical. The desperate clutch is the absence broadcasted at full volume. Of course, more absence comes back. The mirror is just doing its job. This is why the people who finally receive the thing they have been longing for almost always describe a strange moment. Just before the thing arrives, when they let go, when something in them, often after years of striving, simply put the wish down. I don't even care anymore. I've done what I can. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, I'll be fine. And weeks later, sometimes days later, the thing arrives, almost mockingly fast. It was not the giving up that delivered it. It was the change of state. The clutching had been broadcasting lack. The release broadcasted enoughness. And the universe, faithful as ever, mirrored the new signal. This is the most useful clue you will ever get about what you are actually broadcasting. Wherever you feel grippy and desperate, you do not yet have it inside. Wherever you feel light and casual, and of course, you already have it inside, and the outer world is only a matter of time. So when you find yourself white knuckling a manifestation, checking, refreshing, willing it, demanding it, please understand, you are not closer to it. You are radiating its absence. The kindest thing you can do for yourself, for the thing, and for the law is to put it down for a moment. Not give it up. Put it down. Walk into the bottom layer feeling directly. Become it now in the inner privacy of your own state. And let the top layer arrive when it is ready, drawn by the new frequency rather than chased by the old one. Now I want to take you somewhere even more uncomfortable, because if I do not, this lecture stays at the surface. There is another possibility you have to be willing to look at, and it is this. Sometimes the reason you have not received what you say you want is not that you are broadcasting lack, or holding a hidden contract, or sabotaging from the inside. Sometimes the reason is more startling. Sometimes you have not received the thing because the thing is not what you actually want. You picked it up somewhere along the way, from a parent, from a culture, from a moment when you were 18 and impressionable, from a comparison with someone whose life you were jealous of for a season. You held on to it. You built an identity around chasing it. You told yourself, this is what I want. This is what would make me happy. This is the shape of my dream. And the universe, kindly and patiently, has been keeping it away from you. Not because you are unworthy, because the deeper version of you, the one who knows more than you let yourself know, has been quietly refusing to fully commit to it. Because that version sees, with a clarity your conscious mind cannot yet hold, that the thing you have been chasing is not actually the thing your soul came here to have. This is hard to say and hard to hear. So let me say it gently. Sometimes the things that did not arrive in your life were the greatest gifts you were ever given. The relationship that ended, the job that fell through, the version of life that never quite materialized. People stand in the wreckage of these moments and feel betrayed by the universe. And then, sometimes years later, they look back and see, with a kind of soft amazement, that the unanswered prayer was the truest answer they ever received. You may be standing inside one of those unanswered prayers right now. You may be exhausted, frustrated, ready to give up. And the universe may, in its quiet, stubborn love, be saying, no, not this version. There is something else for you, something that fits your real wish, something you cannot yet see, because you are still loyal to the picture you drew when you were younger and did not know yourself yet. I am not asking you to abandon your dream. I am asking you to test it. Sit with the dream and ask, very honestly, is this still mine? Or is this someone else's life I borrowed, somewhere along the way, and forgot to give back? The dreams that survive that question are the real ones. The dreams that quietly dissolve when you look at them directly were never yours to begin with. And the dissolving is not a loss. It is a liberation. You do not have to keep manifesting a life that was never yours. Let me give you then the practice for this lecture, because all of this is only useful if you can use it. First, name the stated wish. Pick one. Just one. The thing you would say if someone asked you what you wanted right now in your life. Hold it in your mind. Be specific. Second, name the bottom layer wish. Ask, if I had this, what would I get to feel? And then ask again and again until you reach the word that catches a little in your throat. That word is the real wish. Write it down somewhere. Only you will see it. Carry it with you. Third, ask what is in the way of feeling that now. Not in the way of getting the thing. In the way of feeling the feeling now, in the absence of the thing. Notice what comes up. I cannot feel safe until the money arrives. I cannot feel worthy until the love arrives. I cannot feel at peace until the body changes. Notice the contract. Notice the hidden bargain you have been holding with yourself. Notice the part of you that has been waiting for permission. Fourth, give yourself the permission. This is the move, not as a trick, as a decision. Tell yourself, gently and seriously, I am going to feel this now, not later, not when, now. The outer condition can take its time. I will not wait for it to grant me the feeling. I will become the feeling first. And fifth, return, not once, not in one big session. Return every day. Every time you feel the old wanting rise, every time you feel the grippy ache, the desperate clutch, the please let it come now, each time, gently, return to the bottom layer feeling. Become it for 30 seconds. Walk on. The state, repeated, becomes the climate. The climate, sustained, becomes the life. This is the work. It is not glamorous. It is not loud. It is not the kind of thing you can post about. But it is, in my experience, the only thing that actually changes a life from the inside out. Everything else is decoration. So here is what I want you to leave with tonight. Out of this room, out of this video, out of this hour. You have spent years, probably, trying to manifest a costume. And the universe, which loves you more than you know, has been refusing to give you the costume because it knows what you actually wanted was the body underneath. It has been waiting patiently for you to stop chasing the surface and turn your attention to the depth. It has been waiting, in fact, for this very recognition. You do not actually want what you say you want. You want what the saying was for. You want the feeling, the state, the quiet inner of coarseness that you assumed the thing would bring you. And the most extraordinary thing about this whole teaching, the thing that, if you really let it in tonight, will change the architecture of your life, is that the feeling is not on the other side of the thing. The feeling is on the other side of a decision. The decision to stop waiting for the world to grant it to you. The decision to give it to yourself now. The decision to walk into the bottom layer state directly in the privacy of your own inner life, regardless of what the outer conditions are currently doing. When you do that, when you stop chasing the costume and start being the body underneath, something almost embarrassing happens. The costume tends to show up, not because you forced it, because the law of correspondence has nothing left to keep mirroring back to you as lack. The signal has changed. The reflection has to change. And the version of you, 6 months from now, who is sitting inside the very thing you used to ache for, that version is not going to remember the strategies. That version is going to remember the night you finally stopped chasing the surface and turned, for the first time, toward what you were actually after, all along. Welcome home, my friends. The thing you have been longing for has been longing for you. You only needed to want it from a different place, a place that no longer needed it to feel whole. That place is yours. It is yours tonight. It is yours in the next breath. It is yours now. Thank you and good evening. This is Best of Lectures. I will see you in the next video.